Welcome to the Josh Bolton Show, where we dive into interesting and inspiring conversations. And now, your host, Josh Bolton.
I would say let's just get right into it. Introduce yourself and we can just get going.
Okay. Is it recording already?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, whatever. This is Danna Olivo. I'm with Academy, and I am a business growth strategist, and I work with small, solo, micro entrepreneurs to help them build an infrastructure for success around their product or service offerings.
Awesome. I was going to say that's more detailed than I got from our call before.
We've nailed it down now. So
yeah. So I'm curious, why did you pick micro entrepreneurs?
Because I've failed in business twice before.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I went back to college and got my business degree and MIS degree that I realized what I didn't know about running a successful business. And so I want to be that catalyst for changing that out there in the market.
Okay. No, that's a very good goal. And
yes.
I want to say it doesn't matter how many people you get. There's always someone eventually willing, like, okay, I need to hire her or Josh or whatever kind of thing, because I don't know what's going on.
Right. And I've been doing this for since 2009 on my own. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been a strategist basically all my life, marketing primarily. Okay. And knowing that with the solo micro entrepreneurship market, there's a lot of things that they can't afford. So that's why we started the Academy. It's still bringing them the education, the resources, everything that they need, except it's in a do-it-yourself type environment at a price point that they can afford. So they still can get that education that they need without having to go back to college.
Okay. So just curious, for the price point, what do you offer to people?
Well, we've got, it's a subscription base, and we've got courses there. Most of the courses range anywhere from $25 up to $65 per course. Or there is subscriptions unlimited for the year for $450. So, it's very affordable for small micro businesses to be able to get whatever education. And we're talking education that covers every aspect of running a business. It could be operational, it could be financial, it could be marketing, sales, systems, processes, whatever they happen to be encountering at any given time.
Okay. So you cover the full spectrum, and then you teach in a way that they can understand. That's awesome.
Right. And we, with the Academy, we've designed it around the micro business owner who does not have the business experience, the marketing experience or whatever, and understand how to build a successful business around their product service. So we take it in a sequential approach. We give them a roadmap basically on how they can go through the process of growing their business.
That's awesome. Yeah. That would be useful in general, because our previous chat beforehand, we were talking how the school system doesn't teach you this. They barely teach you what finances are, and they're expecting you to know this. And even in college, unless you go specific in business, they don't really teach you the basics either.
No. And it's more skills-based than it is an all-encompassing understanding of what it is to own and run a business. I fully agree with you. I've read your profile, online and things like that. And two things resonate right off the bat with me. First is your struggle with ADHD. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I raised two ADHD children. And then also your heart for helping young people get that entrepreneurial experience, which is where my heart is. I want to get, even if it's the academy that we're developing, in front of middle schoolers. I think it's important that we get in there and teach them what it is to problem solve, what it is to provide a solution to a problem,
Right.
what it is to think outside the box, to use their imagination on how they can earn their own money as opposed to relying on going into corporate America.
Yeah. And that's one of those, I think I was talking to my instructor, but he was saying, oh, like corporate America is bad. I'm like, well, yes and no. I mean, if you're bottom of the feeding chain, yeah, it's terrible. But if you're the one that's in charge of it, like the C-suite and even executive, like VP, it's freaking fantastic. You're making money hand over fist, and other than the mental stress, it's a pretty easygoing life kind of thing.
Well, don't get me wrong. There are advantages to going into corporate America. One of the main reasons is the experience that you can basically borrow from corporate. Okay, right. While you're working within corporate America, take advantage as a young, worker or whatever. Take advantage of any of the programs that they're willing to give you to teach you different skills, and take advantage of that at their cost. That's only going to enhance you. But the other thing is right now with what's going on with COVID and everything, I don't envy any of these C-level individuals that are having to make decisions on, mandatory, immunizations and things like that, because it's being forced on them by OSHA and the insurance companies and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Yeah, it's extremely unfair, and like you have to consider all demographics and walks of life as an executive. That's right. Oversimplified it for my instructor, but
yeah,
no, it's there's so many choices you have to make as an executive. There are times I wonder how the hell they sleep, kind of thing.
It is, and it's very difficult, and that's why, as an entrepreneur, it is important that you do have a coaching mentor in your back pocket, because of the fact that there are a lot of times that things will be sitting on your shoulders, such as this COVID aspect and things like that you just need to vent. You need to talk to somebody and just get it off your shoulders, because to hold on to it, that stress level is not healthy.
It's not.
No. So that's why with the Academy, one of the things that we also introduce, not only the education side, but the accountability and the support side. So we bring in the coaching aspect and the mastermind programs to help small micro business owners, maneuver those roadblocks they're going to encounter, and they are going to encounter them.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, 100%. And especially if you don't have someone like you, where it's like, I've seen this before. It's like the metaphorical right or left. It's like, don't take right. It's just a dead end kind of thing. But if you're in the trenches, you're just like, oh, that seems like the best offer though.
Yeah, no, it's been there, done that. I've learned a lot. There's nothing wrong with failing. Failing is a lesson learned, and with every failure, you're going to grow and you're going to learn more. And that experience is what you can bring to the market, to others. I wrote a book when I first started my business. I wrote a book called Market Atomy: What to Expect When Expecting a Business.
Interesting.
And
okay.
It's a small book, motivational, but it talks about how there's an entrepreneur in every single one of us. It's just a matter of we have to hone in and find out where that entrepreneur lies.
Okay. I'm curious how you stumbled across that.
Well, look at it this way. Okay. Let's take a stay-at-home mom. Okay. Raising, 2, 3, 4 children or whatever. There are ways that she has simplified her life by raising those 4 children, systems that she's implemented within the household that possibly other mothers may want to know about. She could put that online, start her own blog, and a lot of them have. That's an entrepreneurial effort. When you think about it, let's look at, I'm trying to think of what some other examples I have. I can't think of any right now.
It's all good.
Yeah, but this is what I'm talking about. Oh, I know what it was. A perfect example is I used to work within the architectural engineering construction market. Okay. And I worked through every single logistical cycle within the market, from product development all the way through spec development, design, construction, or whatever. When I moved over to the construction market and was hired by one of the largest construction management firms, little did I know before I was hired that they had no systems in place.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so in order to do my job at that time, which was marketing, responding to federal RFPs and state RFPs, I had developed systems when I was within the design side. I was hired out of an architectural firm. Those systems that I had developed, I was able to implement into the construction side, which is where I had gone. It had taken me a good 6 months, but that is a skill that I learned that I could transfer and then ultimately transfer into my own business, because it's all a matter of setting up systems and processes and things that you found, that's a skill level that not everybody has.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that I'm talking about when I say that there's an entrepreneur in every one of us, whether we're a writer, a poet, somebody who, is good at strategic planning, such as me, those kind of things. So
the only reason I brought that up, because there are some people, whether it's the rat race killed their spirit or something like that, they don't feel like, I work my job, I go home, I drink and go to sleep, repeat kind of thing. It's like, why should I do more when I already did my air quote job kind of thing? Because
there are a lot of them out there, and a lot of it boils down to emotional intelligence. It's all about, even in my corporate jobs in the past, because of my personality, when it came to doing my job, I was thorough. I was, very gung-ho. I was always looking for new ways of doing things and things like that. And that would scare some people off, especially women. When a woman is there and there's another woman that's right there scared of losing her job, she's going to try and intimidate whoever it is that's honing in on it. Even though that was not my intention in the first place. My intention was to do my job to the best that I could. There's a lot of people who are threatened very easily when they feel as though their job is threatened. And a lot of it boils down to emotional intelligence.
Right.
They've been beaten down all their life, and they have put up this defense.
Yeah. No, that's so true, because I'm actually thinking I was technically off today for work, and but this guy called me in, and the coworker, it's her normal site she works, came in she readjusted the schedule, and that's where she was yelling at me like, "Oh, why are you here? Blah blah blah, and why are you doing it like that?" I said, "Well, the list says to do it this way." I said, "I was literally hired to do pretty much what you won't do." And
wow, yeah.
And it was just one of those, she read over the list and said, "Oh, but you contract this and blah, blah, blah. You can't do that." And I'm like, okay, well, I'm literally hired just to do this. I don't really care how it's done. I'm just going to do it.
As long as the outcome is the same,
right?
That's what matters.
And that's where I just, the supervisor site's like, just leave Josh alone kind of thing. He's like, he's going to do it his way, and you can't influence him otherwise.
Right. And that's where that ADHD comes in too.
Yeah.
Because you have your own ways of doing things. My son was severely ADHD when he was younger, and just so intelligent that you couldn't keep up with him. But he would be going through school, and in school, the way that we teach, it just aggravates me, the way our students are taught. But in school, with his math, he did it all in his head. He could figure it out.
Interesting. Okay.
But in school, they want you to show every step. so that they know that you know how to do it. But if he comes up with the right answer,
What's the
it
difference?
shouldn't matter. Right, exactly. And so he was always, getting marked off for not showing his work. So I understand to a degree about showing the work. If you're not getting the right answer, then the teacher can show you where it is that you made a mistake.
Right.
But if he's getting the right answer, it shouldn't make a difference.
It really shouldn't.
Yeah. But our teachers, unfortunately, are pigeonholed into a methodology that the federal government has put in place that is so antiquated right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's done on purpose. I honestly do.
No, I'm now that I'm studying and I've read my books and different stuff, I think the same thing. I'm like, it's whether it was a higher design or just sheer stupidity, it ended up this way. It's designed to essentially make you a good worker. The bell rings. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the bell rings. It's like for work, the whatever goes off, time for break.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's.
No, I fully agree with you. I think it was designed on purpose. It was not a mistake. I think it was designed to keep us under the thumb of the federal government, and responding to their demands. And this is exactly, and as much as people will, kick back with me, and stuff like that, this is exactly what's going on with COVID. I'm sorry. But, if we as citizens can't step up and do our own research and make our own decisions, then, I don't think we should be a free America.
Okay. Explain more.
Well, we've got all this news coming out, okay, about the COVID numbers, and things like that. And if you go in and you do your own research outside of your traditional New York Times, all these other major publications, even your online platforms such as YouTube and Facebook, and things like that, they talk about it being fake news.
Right.
As far as people arguing against, the anti-vaxxers. Okay, let's just call them anti-vaxxers. Okay.
Sure.
They're quick to point out and say, "Oh, it's all just fake news."
Mm-hmm.
But the more you research it and you get into these portals and the news that is backing it up with legitimate facts and data and documents that they are able to get a hold of, going between the World Health Organization, the government, and the health. What am I thinking? You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
CDC or whatever.
CDC, FDA, all of this. When you look at it and you really dig down, you can find the documentation that is out there publicly for you to see that it just goes against everything they're saying. A perfect example is right now, the number of deaths of COVID, okay, is highly inflated. And it's highly inflated because what's happening is the hospitals and the doctors are getting paid off for every COVID death that they diagnose.
Okay, to an extent, like one of my buddies, his mother died from COVID, and but it was literally the person, like he's a bit open-minded. So there was a lady next to his mother that was dying too, and she was just in for, I don't know, run-of-the-mill flu or like asthma, but she died. But because she had the symptoms of COVID, they labeled it a COVID death. So it's one of those. I can agree that it's inflated, but I also at the same time there are people dying, kind of thing.
No. I'm not saying that it's not, okay? What I'm saying is that the numbers that are being reported, if you look at the numbers and you look at the number of deaths on cancer and other things, okay, those numbers have declined over the last 20 months, okay, where the COVID numbers have increased. All right, so where I'm going with this is they're going in infected by COVID. I'm not saying that COVID is not there. Okay. What I'm saying is they are actually dying from a pre-existing condition that COVID, maybe accelerated.
That's more what happened to my buddies at work.
Yeah.
His mom was already dying, and they knew at the time they had about like 3 months with her. COVID just sped it up to 2 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where he's like, she technically got COVID, but she didn't die of COVID. She was already on her way out kind of thing.
Right. It's like when I had my daughter, my daughter is now 41. Okay. She was born 6 weeks premature. And the reason she was born 6 weeks premature was because I had come down with a flu.
Okay.
And basically couldn't keep anything down, and stuff like that. And they ended up putting me in isolation because they didn't know what it was. And while I was in isolation is when I went into labor, because the baby's heart was very hard, very fast. And they said, well, we have to take her now. The fact that she was born premature resulted because of the infection I had.
Right.
Okay. Not because of a problem with me or anything like that. It's the same thing with COVID. Okay. I went in for a certain condition, which resulted in another.
Right.
Okay. And that's where I see, as far as COVID is concerned, my husband, he just got the notification last week, said that, he works for a very large defense company.
Okay.
And they just notified all of them that whether you work virtually or in the office, you are required to get the COVID vaccine. And he's with me as far as, anti-vax, and stuff like that. So, he's at a dilemma. If he's going to keep his job, he's going to have to get that shot. And that is totally unfair.
Right.
When it comes to that, because of the fact that, they're threatening the jobs of these employees for them to be able to keep their jobs. And a lot of them are quitting. They just as soon quit and go out on their own, which is throwing another monkey wrench into the
ecosystem.
pool. What it is they're having to quit their jobs and go out on their own, and they're not prepared yet. Which
Right.
is why Market Academy is so important right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I would say, a smart entrepreneur would buy your project. Is someone like those who are quitting and they've been a worker their whole life, and suddenly they're like, "I'll be the boss." That's not the first thing they're going to think to buy, though. When they still have their paycheck, like the last 2-week check coming in.
no, that's not the thing that they're going to be thinking about. Okay, the thing that's on their mind is, how am I going to continue earning money?
Right.
I'm not working. Okay, how am I going to continue earning money? And that's what throws them into a situation where they are working to collect a paycheck and not growing a business. And so they're throwing money into a business that is not set up to grow and bring customers through the door. So how do they, it's the chicken and the egg syndrome here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, you need to earn money, but at the same time, you're in business for yourself, and there's expenses that come with being in business for yourself.
Yeah.
I just went through, in fact, I've just been invited by a federal association who deals in no bid contracts for the federal government. Okay. You're talking about no bid contracts like mowing lawns, washing windows, things like that. Did you know that there's billions of dollars that the government is required to award to small micro businesses?
Didn't know that.
Yep. And out of those billions of dollars, only 6% went after them in the past year. And so I've been brought in by this organization. And the reason that they did not go after it, or they did not qualify, is because they did not have that infrastructure built around their product or service offering. So the reason I've been brought in is to help them build that infrastructure so that they could go after these no bid contracts. These no bid contracts, they can start earning money within 4 to 6 months, which would get them through the hump of a startup business.
Yeah, because it's guaranteed money no matter what.
It's guaranteed money. Yeah. And you can be a startup. You can be pre-revenue. These are all things that by attaching themselves to experts within the field will open up new doors for them. I didn't even know. I've worked with the federal government in RFP responses and bids for years, working within the architectural, engineering, and construction market. I did not know about the no bid aspect of this.
Interesting.
Yep.
Definitely something I'm going to have to look up.
Things that, as a small business owner, if you had these answers, that's where education comes in.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
So I'm curious, I'm going to touch a little earlier. You were mentioning the subscription for your classes. What is the monthly one, the price for them? And then you said the unlimited is for something a year?
I have, my pricing strategies are very easy. Okay. You can get a year's unlimited access to any of the courses for $450 a year. Okay. Or you can get a month unlimited for $99.
Okay.
Right. Other than that, you pay by class. Okay. Now, when I say you pay by class, you can pay dollars, okay, which is the full price of the class, which is, like I said, anywhere from $25 to $65. There are a couple of them that are a little bit higher, but they're not, and or you can pay by credit. We've set up our pricing system where you can purchase banks of credit, and those credits are purchased at a discount.
Okay.
So you can actually get the courses for less money.
Would it be like a credit card though? Like you're billing them at a certain rate?
No, what it is, well, on the subscription basis, yes. Okay. But on the credit side, what they're doing is they're purchasing a bank of credits. So they may purchase 20 credits at a certain amount, which is a discounted rate. They have those 20 credits they can apply to any of the courses within the academy.
It's like a gift card, sort of. Okay.
Almost like, yeah. Most of your subscription-based programs out there are moving to the credit side of things because of the fact that it creates a bank for them. It creates a bank so they don't have to go in and purchase every time to take a course. All right.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do here, because the courses are all different prices within the academy. And in order to make the process simpler for them, in order to pay for them, that's why we built in credits. Some of the credits might be 2 credits for a course, 1 credit for a course. There's some free ones in there, things like that. So
then, like, hypothetically, a credit is like
about $18.
Yeah, I would say, is it like correlation, like 1-to-1 kind of? Okay, so
yeah, it's about $18 is what it is. Now, the other thing to keep that I think is important to point out is in the academy, because we've kept the micro business owner in mind. Okay, every one of our courses that we offer have 2 components. They have a learning component and an interactive component. The learning component, they learn the skills, they learn how to process, how to do. The interactive component, they will have the tools, the worksheets, whatever they need to customize what they've learned for their own business. So they will walk away from that course with a customized program for their business that they can incorporate in their business plan, they can incorporate in their overall marketing strategy, whatever it is that they have developed.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
that avoids shelf help.
I want to say that really helps out with like when you're doing it yourself, like you can get most of it done, but there is like that 20-25% where you're like, shit, I don't actually know what I'm doing here. But then that's where you're saying, okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, and then if you run into problems while you're going through the course, we also have the free members only Facebook page. So you can interact with other members, subscribers who may be going through the same course or whatever. You can, we also have bi-weekly group coaching. So you can be getting through, right. That's included in their subscription, or course load. Okay. So they can join us for the group coaching. And we're introducing bi-monthly mastermind programs, whereas they will be headed up by some of our affiliates who are professionals. Some of these professionals have, built programs for the academy.
Right.
We also have informational live webinars that we do 2-3 times a month. All right. That lead to different courses. We also have the Charged Up Academy, Charged Up Studio, which is our weekly podcast that we do every Tuesday at 9 a.m. And that weekly podcast is the same thing. It's all teaching. It's all information that small micro business owners need to know about and what's coming down the pipe.
That's good. So I'm curious, because you did marketing beforehand. What is the things you did back then that maybe is different now, and some tactics that you use are even more important today, kind of thing?
Oh goodness, there's a lot of lessons learned. Okay, one is, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, you try and save money by wearing all the hats. Okay, that's not possible. You end up spending more money by trying to wear all the hats than you do by, say, reaching out to the gig economy or bringing on a virtual assistant or, bringing on somebody to partner with that will help you with certain aspects of the business. That's one thing. The other thing I have learned with business is, it's going to sound, it's my one of my taglines. Okay. I'm the business birthing specialist. That's what my tagline is. And so I tell my customers that without customers, there is no business. It's like being pregnant without a way to deliver. So when you think about it, you're all ready to launch your business, but there's no customers coming through the door. And in order for those customers to come through the door, you have to understand the infrastructure of a successful business. And this is where our proprietary Marketatomy concept comes into play. Okay. The Marketatomy concept is built around the human body. This is how I explain to small business owners what needs to be in place. Okay. You've got the human body, and in the human body, you have the heart. The heart is your passion. It's love. It's why you do what you do. Same thing in business. The heart of your business is your why. Why do you do what you do for your customers? What's your motivation? What's your passion? All right. Well, up in the brain, in the body, the brain sends the signals to the heart, right? Sends the signals to the heart for it to keep beating, etc. It's the same thing in business. The brain of the business is where all your strategies, your processes, your procedures, even your product or service offering is located in the brain of the business. You need what's in the brain in order to run the business. Does that make sense? So
absolutely.
In the human body, can the heart operate without the brain? No. And vice versa. The brain can't operate without the heart because it won't have that lifeblood going into the brain. So it's the same thing in business. You need the brain, which are your strategic playbook, working with your heart to push your marketing message, your why, out through the veins of the body, which are your marketing channels, to the body, which is your market, your target market. Now, if we take it one step further, you, as the business owner, is the soul of the business. It's your culture. It's your passion that drives everything. And without having that system in place, customers are not going to come through your door. They're not going to stay with you because you are not meeting their expectations. It's the customer experience that keeps those customers coming, staying, and turning into raving fans.
Oh yeah. No, that's the biggest one I've learned in general. Because at one point in my life, I tried to teach martial arts, and I was doing great. I was cold calling even back then, all this stuff, and it was something like my instructor sat me down and essentially said, "Josh, you're reading the script," and he's like, "You're doing good," because we were recording on a different audio. And he's like, "I listened to your audio," and he's like, "You sound robotic. There's no reason for them to like you. You have honest intention. You're not like Wolf of Wall Streeting them." But he's like, "Why should they come out of their nice air conditioned house to you?" And I was like, well, so that's where I asked him, like, what am I supposed to do? Like put on a facade act kind of thing? And he's like, pretty much. Because you're not
just be yourself,
yeah, that was, he's like, either be yourself or he's like, put on a more of like a showman facade where it's like, oh, hello, my friends, how you doing? Get their attention, wave your hands. And I'm like, oh.
See, I've been doing this podcasting and getting in front. It took me a long time to get in front of the camera. Okay. Very self-conscious. But I've been doing it for about 2 years. And that was the first thing I learned. I heard from my husband, from many others, that I didn't sound natural on air. I needed to become natural. And the minute I let go of the scripting, the minute I let go of worrying about how I looked, I mean, I still put on the makeup,
right.
But without worrying about everything being perfect, because I am what you call one of those perfect perfectionists,
right.
When it comes to it, I've learned how to accept my flaws and understanding that that's what builds that credibility out there for people to want to listen to me. They hear the passion when I talk about where my heart is with micro business owners. And that's what attracts them to Market Academy and the concept and what we're doing. And I'm loving what it's doing to change the mindsets and help these small micro business owners see what the possibilities are. Yes, they're going to go through struggles. They're going to hit roadmaps and, roadblocks and things like that. But to know that they're not alone, first of all, and to know they don't have to work within a vacuum, not reaching out to anybody, okay, takes them to another level as far as their business is concerned.
Oh, 100%. And I just like to tap in earlier where you said passion is more important. When I started this, I didn't know if I was going to do solo or talking to people like this. And then my first episode was me babbling like an idiot. And I was even debating on sending it. And it was just, I was super passionate. I was like, oh, like a little plant in my fish tank. It's like,
I see the fish flying around.
Yes. I was talking about, it's called aquaponics, growing plants in the water. And then it was sort of like, oh, like food waste at the grocery stores. And I was then halfway through, like as I'm talking about, oh, that would be a logistical nightmare to figure out. But I was super passionate. One of the guests said, yeah, I just listened. You were super passionate. It just
comes out.
They're like, I mean, you were rambling, like, but you were passionate. So we kept listening. I'm like, I noticed that's like the one that gets the most views and yet is the one I hate the most.
But that's what does it, in all honesty, when you let yourself go and stop trying to overthink things and think ahead, you just react. Okay. You react. Like I said, I read your bio. I wanted to learn a little bit about yourself. I was even thinking I can turn this around on you as well. So
really,
I mean, when I read about the ADHD, that resonated. When I learned about, your heart for young entrepreneurs, that resonated with me. Those are things that when you're doing a podcast, you want that connectivity. You want that those areas that you can connect with. And it's the same thing in selling. What people don't realize is that a good salesperson, that's what they do first. They find out where they can connect emotionally with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a podcast is all about too. How can you connect emotionally and really relate to what's being said?
Oh, 100%. No, that's the biggest one. I've now joked with my martial arts instructor all the time. I'm like, dude, you're giving me chunks and just golden veins of nuggets of knowledge. And I was just a young, dumb kid, like, yeah, whatever, sir. Now it's like I told him, like, I'm actually like using half the techniques. I'm like, it's not cold calling, but I'm like, I'm trying to get on other shows. That's why we chatted the other time.
Right.
And I sat there and I told him to his face as we were working on my black belt forms for my test. I said, yeah, I literally just sat there. I'm like, what would Alan say? And I'm like, huh. It's like, hello, how are you doing, my friend? This, and this. And it's like, he said, yeah, introduction. I said, compliment, statement, compliment, send off. And he's like, ooh, that's good. Yeah, that's about what I would do too.
That's good. So is that your passion, martial arts?
Oh yeah, but I'm 28 going on 29. I have arthritis in my hand. So I'll study, but I don't intend on teaching in the future.
Well, but no, we talked about, the passion, and it would be interesting for entrepreneurs to hear that passion when you're talking about martial arts, and the voices in your head. Okay. Is what I'm saying. Okay. In fact, I have a podcast that just came out last week that you want to probably go listen to.
Okay.
It's called The 7 Voices in Your Head. Actually, it's coming out. No, it was last week. And we're going to have a webinar on it too, coming up. Okay. But you really need to listen to that. This guy is amazing. He delivers in a comedic tone. Okay.
Yeah, that's the best way to get through to people.
Right. And he's developed this whole program around the 7 voices in your head that have really come to the surface with COVID. Okay. And he applies different voices to it, and everything. So you really need to go listen to it.
All right. What's the show again?
It's chargedupstudio.live.
Okay.
But yeah, that one's really good. And like I said, we've got a webinar. He's going to do an informational webinar for us coming up. I don't know exactly when, but it's coming up next month. So.
All right.
Beginning of next month. Yes.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Well, everyone that's made it to the end, this is definitely going to be in for a treat for that.
Yes. No, definitely.
I love it. I got 3 going out questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So other than work, what have you been doing to keep yourself busy during these lockdown times?
A lot of reading.
Okay.
Love to read. So I've been doing a lot of reading, spending time with the grandkids. We try at least once a week to get together with the youngest one. But I have 3 other ones. 2 of them are teenagers, so they're not interested in coming to see abuelo and abuela. So, and
it's like I got boys now. I got or girls.
You've got girls?
No, them. It's like, oh, I got a boyfriend or a girlfriend kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no. These 2, yeah. one's 18, one's 19, so they're kind of, yes. Then I've got a 10-year-old girl.
Ooh,
and
okay.
She's going through the fun with her friend stage, And then I got a one that's turning 3 on the 12th of November. That's the one I get to see every weekend. So
cute. They love it. It's like, oh, can we get to see grandma?
Yeah, no, this is the way mine is. She just coming over to Abuelo's house. I'm going to Abuelo's. She knows every Saturday she's coming over to Abuelo's.
Nice.
So she's just so I'm doing that, and right now a lot of my free time is also we're going to market with Academy. So doing a lot of strategic planning.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the second one is someone aspiring to be like you, a successful businesswoman, have a wonderful family. What are some tips, tricks, or advice you'd give them to start down the path?
Don't forget about family. You can get so wrapped up in business that you ignore the family. You need to relegate your hours for work. Okay. You need to have a cutoff time. So therefore, if you're working from the house, you want to make sure that you're in a sacred place that is your office, that you can shut the door and shut the door with you in it during office hours and with you out of it in off hours, because you don't want to be distracted by that. You know, the fact of doing a podcast on Saturday was not an issue with me because I timed it. My granddaughter's coming over about 11:30, you know, so I wanted to make sure I've got this out of the way so that I can do it. My hours flex during the week, so I make a point of being really flexible during the day so I can get the me time in that I need, and and things like that. So set hours. The other thing is don't let the naysayers dictate what you're going to do.
That's the biggest one I've learned, because that was the biggest influence for me. And now I realize you have to have an iron fist and be like, no, this is mine.
This is my dream. It's not yours. Right. This is my dream. This is what I'm working towards. And until it shows me I shouldn't be working towards it, I'm going to continue with what I'm doing, and I'm a big dreamer, so many people tell me that I dream too big, and I tell them, no, I don't. If I didn't have that big dream, I wouldn't know where I'm going.
Right.
Okay. That big dream can be broken down into smaller goals. Yes. And that's how you work as a business owner. You've got a vision, say a 3-year or a 5-year vision, but that vision has to be broken down into smaller components. And by doing that, you can celebrate at the smaller milestones, and you realize, hey, I'm that much closer to what my vision is.
Oh yeah. I was never a planner. Like, you probably know this with your kids. With ADHD, it's hard enough to figure out if you had breakfast or not.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. So my thing is now I make a general list and then I get it all done. I don't have a specific order. As long as it's done by the end of the day, it's a good kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, I'm ADD. Okay. I'm not hyper, but I'm ADD.
Right.
And, I have a to-do list, and I will put everything on that to-do list. If I don't write it down, I'll forget it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. And with my kids, it was the same thing. I would make a list of chores they had to do for the week. And the one I wanted them to do first or most, I would put at the top of the list, because I knew once they were done with that, the rest were not going to be done. Or if they did the last one first, the ones before it wouldn't get done. So you learn these little tricks to work around that ADD aspect, which is not bad. It's just my son, his things were going through his head so much faster than his motor skills.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Spelling tests. This is another education issue.
Right.
Okay. Spelling. Okay. If he was able to test audibly, he would get the spelling correct.
Yeah.
Okay. But because he had to write it down, by the time it got to his hands, he would miss letters because it was going so fast through his head.
That was
Same thing with with cursive writing. He could not get cursive writing because by the time it got from his head to the paper,
he was already like 10 steps ahead of himself, and he doesn't even realize where he's at.
And I explained to the teacher, why does he have to learn cursive? I said, why can't he just print? Because printing, he was much better at. She says, well, he needs to learn to sign his signature. I said, he can learn that. That's not a problem. But why does he can read cursive? It was just impossible for him as a young kid. Okay. Yeah. As a young kid, now he's okay.
Oh yeah. I would say
Yeah.
now he's learned a few things. He could adapt accordingly. And that was the hardest one for me.
Yeah.
Is they were like old school pencil and paper, write everything.
Right.
And that's where I said like 10 steps ahead, they would say the cow is white and Lucy is wearing a pink dress. Well, I heard the cow and pink dress. So I would like my brain would just smash it together and be like, the cow's wearing a pink dress. And then just teacher's like, what the hell were you listening to? I'm like, I don't know, man. It doesn't translate well on the paper.
That's true. That's true. I heard all these stories from my son, you know, growing up myself, you know, we went to school. I went to a Catholic school and the windows were all around you. Mm-hmm. And so if anything was going on outside, I was paying attention to that. I was not paying attention to what the teacher was saying. That's ADD.
Right.
You know, a lot of people say, well, that's just being a kid. Yeah, but if you can't get that kid to focus, okay, you've got an issue.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so anyway.
I'm going to say third one.
Okay.
Where can everyone contact you? Website, social media, email, etc. So they'd be like, oh, I heard you on the show kind of thing. Yes.
No, they can reach out to me via email at Danna, DANNA.Olivo, OLIVO, at Marketatomy, MARKETATOMY or .com. I'm sorry. Email is .com.
Okay.
You can also go to marketatomy.academy to see the academy.
There we go.
I'm on LinkedIn under Danna Olivo. We have a Facebook page for marketatomy.academy, as well as Charged Up Studio. And let's see, what else? That's it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
It was an absolute pleasure and honor to chat with you.
You too. You too. I look forward to, I would definitely like to invite you to be on Charged Up Studio for season 3, which will be happening after the first of the year.
All right. So I'm looking forward to it.
We can go ahead and get you scheduled for your recording, so we can do that.
There we go. Well, congratulations. You made it to the end. You are an awesome person. Not many make it here. So, being the awesome person that you are, can you do me one more awesome favor? Can you rate and review this on whatever podcast services you're using? If you do it on Apple and you leave an actual written review, I have a thing on my website. I will take your written review and post it for all to see. Congratulations, you're permanently sealed on my site. Otherwise, I am trying to do YouTube more and live streaming. I will try to put as many of the YouTube links in the description of the show as I can. So give your boy some extra help over on YouTube. Watch my videos. I just mute it and change the channel, change the window or something. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being awesome and see you next time.